Welcome, everybody, to our client webinar series. This series is dedicated to you and helping to market your small business or your medium-sized business or your nonprofit organization with different digital strategies. So the purpose of these is to really delve into specific little things or little tweaks that a business owner can make to help get their business out there and reach more people through different digital channels. So tonight we're going to focus on Facebook strategies for business, for both small business owners and of course nonprofits as well. So Facebook is one of the most popular social networking sites, if not the most popular one. In fact, they have nearly 2 billion active users, of which over 1 billion people log in every single day. And we've recently also come across some other studies that say that the average person is spending 5.2 hours per day on their mobile device, of which social networking is the most popular activity. And so the reason that I bring all of this up is because as a small business owner, you have to decide, where are your advertising dollars or your marketing efforts best spent? 20 years ago, those marketing dollars and that time was really invested in making sure that you had visibility in directories or phone books or yellow pages or newspapers or other traditional forms of advertising. And the reason that money was well spent there is because that's where the people were. So if I was looking for a new product or a service, more so a service or a specific type of store, in the 90s, what I did was I simply went to the yellow pages and I opened it up to that specific industry, and I, thumbed down all of the different options, and most likely I called each of them to do a little research, and then after a few hours of figuring out which company I preferred to work with, I then made a decision. So it was a pretty long process for a lot of people to make a decision on who was going to win my business back then, right? And I'm sure that a lot of people have experienced the same thing when they were deciding who to do business with. Now, there was a period of time where the focus was shifted, and 50% of people were still using yellow pages. However, they were using yellow pages just to find different websites so that they conduct their own independent research that way. So there was a period of time where, yeah, people were still finding businesses listed in these different directories, but they still wanted to do that research. And the only difference was, rather than picking up the phone and calling all of those places of business, what they did instead was they looked for the business listings website. So if somebody didn't have a website listed in their Yellow Pages ad or their newspaper ad, then most likely their listing was actually skipped over so that the customer could do their own research without having to pick up the phone, right? And so now the reality is that when people want a product and service, what they do is they rely on the internet, but in a completely different way. Yes, they're still going to conduct their own independent research and do their own due diligence, but there's also the word of mouth advertising that's making a comeback. The only difference is now it's online and now it's viral and now you can get more input very quickly. So you see this all the time. You'll see, actually, we just saw somebody today asking for recommendations for local roofers. So they post on their Facebook page, hey, we're looking to get our roof redone. Who do you guys recommend? And so what happens is that person's post becomes inundated with tons of people sharing their experience and their personal recommendations for, roofers that they recommend or roofers that they don't recommend. And it's interesting because that personal recommendation, whether it's a positive one or whether it was a negative one, is not just given to the person that asked for it. It's in a public space. And so that recommendation is actually viewed by that person's entire network, right? Everybody that goes to that person's page can see that one-to-one marketing. So it's a pretty powerful way to market your business, right? You get so much more visibility, and it's viral, if you will. Now, that's not to say that the person is going to make the decision solely based on the recommendations of friends and family. what that does is it narrows down the search for who they're going to look into and who they're going to research further. So it's interesting, you guys. Again, it's funny, like back in the 90s, people said, their marketing plan was fairly simple. There were a few places that every business really ought to be, and they were. And a lot of businesses relied heavily on word of mouth advertising. Then the focus shifted, and people sort of went away from word of mouth and more toward, okay, everything's online now, I'm just going to do my research. And now we're sort of coming full circle where both of those things are important, where that online research and the ability to have a great website that's going to provide the information that a business is or a potential customer is looking for is critical to the success of any online or social campaign. But that one-to-one marketing, that word of mouth advertising, if you will, is coming back. It's just coming back in a bigger way with bigger impact, and it's doing it through Facebook and other social networks. So we are going to dig in a little bit deeper into as to 5 things really that every business owner can very easily do on their own, and then some specific strategies for implementing each of those steps. And then also we'll at the end review a couple of products and services that we have that might make that process a little bit simpler for you. But either way, after watching tonight's session, we hope that you at least have some idea of, what you might want your next steps to be so that you can take advantage of the viral impact and the massive amount of people that are on Facebook every day, specifically interacting with their friends and families, and also doing that as a way to find and research products in local businesses. So what we're going to go through is a couple of things. The first thing we're going to talk about is just the basics, the 101 on business pages. We're also going to go through those 5 steps. We're going to talk a little bit about posting and how to interact and what kinds of content to post and how often to post, and some really good ratios that you can follow if you're not really sure where to start. We're going to talk a little bit about using Facebook or social media as a form of customer service, which also will translate into a good online reputation for you. A little bit about boosted posts, which is a way to, it's similar to like a Google AdWords program where you can actually pay a little bit of money. They're very inexpensive to Facebook, so that your post will show up in different people's news feeds. And it's very targeted. It's very, very grassroots and very granular. So we're going to show you what that looks like. And then finally, after all that's done, I can give you some options to maybe, simplify that process for you and make it a little bit more turnkey. All right, so we all know that there are, a myriad of social networks. Facebook is really a great business community. It's a community of people. Everybody is on Facebook, and that's why we're going to be focusing on Facebook. But I do think it's important to note some of the other very popular social networks and the differences between them, so that if you do decide to pick one other platform that you want to be very visible in or very active in, you understand the purpose, because people go to these different social networks for different things. They expect different types of content. And the one thing that you don't want to do as a business owner is say, okay, well, if these are the 8 most popular ones, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, be present on all 8 of these and just post the same content across all 8 channels. That doesn't work. If you do post the same type of content across multiple channels, you still have to word it differently, hashtag it differently, and frame it differently so that it's in a format that the users are expecting and looking for. So Facebook is all about community, right? Everybody and their mother and their grandmother and their grandfather is on Facebook. And so the best part about Facebook is that's where everybody is. And so as a small business owner, that's a great place to be because that's where the people are. So it's sort of like showing up to a trade show. And, like you think about home shows, why are they so great for contractors? Well, that's where homeowners go to look for different service providers, specifically in home improvement, right? So that's why a trade show works. Well, Facebook is like a global community with different little towns and groups and places where people can interact. YouTube, think of that as your business show, right? That's all video. So think of it like a show. Everything on there obviously is going to be a type of movie or some sort of video. Twitter is your business voice. So the nice thing about Twitter is you can have a very strong voice on there, but you can post often. You can share multiple articles and different kinds of media and content, but it gives you the opportunity to really just to talk, where Facebook is all about interacting. Twitter is about sharing and replying to other people's shares. And it's really about, there's a lot of news and a lot of interacting with live things. So, for example, everybody's familiar with Shonda Rhimes' TGIT. Thank goodness it's Thursday, and she's got all of her shows on that night. She's got Grey's Anatomy and Scandal and like How to Get Away with Murder, right? So she got 3 top performing television shows in a year or an era where television shows are struggling, right? Scripted shows aren't doing as well. And the reason why is because we're in a Netflix era, right? Where people want to binge watch shows and they want to see an entire season at once. And they want to do that at their own pace, and they want to do that while they're on their mobile devices. And so it's, eyes are so distracted that it's really difficult to have a successful program show. Well, Shonda Rhimes has 3 on one night. One of the reasons why her shows are so popular or became so popular, aside from the fact that she's a brilliant writer and has excellent casts and everything is great about the show itself, but in this particular era, one of the things that they do, which has helped them to gain popularity, is they live tweet during the shows. So every single show that happens every Thursday, the cast and the directors, they literally live tweet with the audience. So if you're watching the new Grey's Anatomy on Thursday night, you can see Shonda Rhimes and the different actors, Ellen Pompeo or whatever, tweeting during the show. Oh my gosh, what did you think of this? I can't believe that happened. That was so hard to film. I can't, it's like an experience, right? You're watching the show, you're consuming the show, but you're also interacting at the same time. And so many people were confused by that when that started years and years ago, because they said, well, isn't that distracting? But one of the things that they did well is they realized they're distracted anyway. They're on their mobile devices anyway. So why not be the place on their mobile devices where that person goes, so that they are actually interacting with them in the show in 2 different ways at the same time? Really, really popular way to interact. WordPress is a great blogging system. LinkedIn is a business profile, right? So think of that as like your extension of your resume and an extension of your business card. It's a great place to interact on a business level. Foursquare, your business location. Instagram, your business fashion show, meaning it's just a rolling flip book of all of the images that have to do with your business. And Pinterest is like your business board. Think of that as a dream board. Now, again, each of these platforms are great for their own individual reason. I probably gave you a little bit more information about Twitter than you expected on a webinar about Facebook, but they're all excellent. But the point is that if you want to be successful in any of these, you need to be active. You need to understand its purpose and what its users are looking for when they are on that platform. So as a business owner, the most important place to be is Facebook. And from there, once you master that, we say just pick one more at a time that makes sense for you. And then go from there. Don't make the mistake of trying to be everywhere at once and not doing it well, because what you will find is that if you're on a social network but you're not active on it, then that is more irritating for your customers than it is helpful. So it's not even worth it to do that. So start with Facebook, and here's why. Number 1, audience. Again, your audience is on Facebook. They have over 1.8 billion users, and 1 billion, actually in excess of 1 billion on average, log in every single day. So it's not just that they have a lot of users, they have a ton of active users. Number 2, affordability. This is a network that gives you access to 1.8 billion people for free. So imagine if think of it like a phone system, right? If you get a phone number that gives you access to talk to people over a specific network. Imagine if, the social media networks like Facebook started charging for access to their network the same way that phone companies charge for access to theirs. Would you take it more seriously? Would you engage with it differently if you had to pay for it, right? It's interesting. It's free to use, and because it's free to use, we almost don't use it as much as we can or in the best way that we can. Um, so you have access to that network for free. You can set up a business page for free. You can manage that business page for free, and you can post as often as you want for free. And you don't have to worry about how much traffic that you get. It's all free. So the question I have is if all of those tools are right at your fingertips and you don't even have to pay for it, why aren't you using it? Is it lack of time? Is it lack of knowledge? Or is it lack of just understanding, right? You have to ask yourself that question. Now, if you want to take your Facebook visibility to the next level and you want to do some advertising on Facebook, the ads for Facebook are also very inexpensive and, by the way, very effective because they have number 3, targeting. Um, Facebook is not just a community of people, it's a community with tons and tons of organized data. So every single user on Facebook has data associated with it. Are they male or female? Around what age group are they in? What types of things do they like? What types of groups do they like? What types of things do they post about? Where are they located geographically? What kinds of friends do they have? All of that is targeted stuff. And because of that, when you choose to run any sort of campaign on Facebook, you can narrow your audience down to say, I just want women from the ages of 20 to 35 in this town to be able to see about this particular class that we're going to be offering on this particular day. And I want that campaign to run from this day to this day. You can get completely granular. Now, what other form of traditional marketing can you get that specific with? Could you imagine in the 90s sitting down with your local newspaper ad and just saying, listen, I'm going to spend this much money on advertising with your newspaper, but I want my dollars to be spent in the best way. And I know that my customer is this type of person from this type of demographic. And I only want to spend money for the newspapers that get delivered to those specific types of people. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're talking about here, like the ability to target market to the exact audience that you want to see your ad. Number 4, efficacy. That means that this product is insanely effective compared to other forms of marketing and even online marketing, which is the most effective marketing that there is today. In fact, it's a 35% lower cost per conversion rate than other online marketing. So it's effective and more affordable, right? So basically, what they're saying here is that they convert. The conversion rate is, by the way, trackable, which is not always true in other forms of advertising, and it's less expensive. 70% of small business owners that ran Facebook ads saw a 3 times or greater return on their ad spend. What that basically means is that if they spent $100 to advertise their business, they saw at least $300 come back as a result of that ad. 70% of businesses. So, by the way, when you look at those numbers and you look at the targeting and you look at the cost per conversion rate and you look at the return on investment, now, those are not things that you can expect a salesperson to share with you when you're looking at traditional print forms of advertising. In fact, they have almost zero accountability, right? If you run an ad in a newspaper, they can't turn around and say what your conversion rate's going to be, or they can't give you statistics to show you what your expected return on investment is going to be, and they can't even tell you how many people actually looked at your ad or took action as a result of looking at your ad. Facebook advertising and other digital advertising has 100% transparency. And basically what that means is if you spent $100 marketing your business on Facebook, we can show you exactly what happened as a result of that $100. We could say, your ad was viewed by 2,000 people, of which 700 of them clicked on your ad, of which 300 of them actually clicked further and landed on your website and converted, right? So we can give 100% transparency on those advertising forms where that doesn't exist in traditional forms of advertising. And I share that because many small business owners, they look at digital marketing and they're worried about whether or not this might be a risk for their business. And I want to share with you that traditional marketing is a risk and there's no accountability there. Digital marketing, there's little to no risk and 100% accountability and transparency. And then finally, number 5, the ability to provide customer service. So 85% of customers, according to Constant Contact, expect local businesses to be active on social media. So they don't just expect local businesses to have a social media presence, they expect them to be active on social media. They're going to those pages to interact, to read valuable content, to ask questions, or to lodge a complaint. And when people do make a complaint on social media, it's an excellent opportunity for you to show how you handle customer support and how you handle people that are not entirely thrilled with where they are. And it shows other people how you can provide a positive outcome for someone that might not be having a positive experience right now. So that's really good, by the way, for your online reputation within your community. And it's really good for your on reputation for people outside of your community as well. But it's just a great way to show how you handle these things and you provide customer support and you put the customer first. So real quick, the reason why, 5 reasons for Facebook: your audience, affordability, targeting, efficacy, and customer support. So before you begin, you got to know a couple of the basics. There's some social media do's, if you will, things that you need to do and to keep in mind. It's sort of like the foundation or the 101 to being present on Facebook. Number 1, you want to make sure that when you set up your online profile that it's complete. We're going to actually show you how to do that in just a little bit, but don't make the mistake of having a half-completed social profile. Make sure your website is listed. Make sure that your About Us is listed, and you have a great profile picture as well as a great header, right? So you want to have both of those, and you want to be choosy about what you're posting. So what we're going to give you some ideas of what to post, but in general, when you share something as a business page, it should be somewhat relevant to your industry. So if you are in the industry of roofing, then it's good to share articles on roofing or articles about things that homeowners can do to make their roof last longer, or funny memes about leaky roofs or things like that. Good content, but it should all be somewhat relevant to what you do. What you don't want to do is have a roofing Facebook page and then be posting all kinds of random stuff that you would normally post on your personal page. You want to make sure that your voice is clear and that if a customer were to land on your business page, they have a very clear idea of who you are and what you do and what you're all about. So that means keeping the message specific. So I always tell people to figure out, what do you want to accomplish with your page, and what kind of a community do you want to exist on your page. So if you happen to own a restaurant, or you own let's say you own a restaurant, then you want you want to feature posts about menu items and specials and free entertainment, or you want to feature pictures of your patrons, right? Or upcoming events, and recipes, maybe, right? Little different things that you can do that would make people want to come back to your restaurant page. But the most important thing is that it's valuable, right? What you don't want to do is turn it into a 24/7 advertising space or commercial space, because then people won't want to come back. It should tell a story about who you are, what you do, and the number one rule on social media is that it needs to be social. And that's true for business pages as well. Once your business page is not social, people don't like your posts, they don't share your posts, they don't comment on them, and they stop engaging with you. So if you want people to interact with the posts that you make, you need to make sure that they're engaging and that they're social and that they're valuable. So it starts with also listening. You need to know your audience so that you can know what kinds of content they like. So we found that on our own personal business page. That sounds funny, but on our business page, especially specifically our Instagram, we get the most engagement when we share design samples and when we share pictures of people. So, and also our inspirational posts. So we've been, kind of messing around and trying different grids, if you will, or layouts and different types of content. And what we found were those were our top 3 most engaged with types of posts. And so because that's the case, that's the kind of stuff that we try to make sure that we're posting at least every other post. We're doing that kind of thing, and then sprinkling in other things here and there, other things that we know could be valuable. Know your audience so that you can generate content that they want to see. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through those 5 steps. Now, what I'm going to show you over the next 5 slides is simple. These are screenshots directly from Facebook's business pages section on the facebook.com website. So when you go to Facebook, you can actually, or even Google, if you just Google Facebook for business or business Facebook pages, it will take you to a landing page that looks exactly like this. This is a screenshot from their header, and it walks you through how to set up a Facebook page for your business and how to run it. And then in addition, I'm going to show you some incredible other resources that Facebook provides for you as well. Lots of tutorials and classes and free things that you can take to learn more about Facebook and how to be successful with it. So the 5 steps are to create a page, add features, promote the page, publish content, and measure and manage. When we get to step 4, talking about publishing content, we will get more specific than just the screenshot from the 5 steps here, and we will share with you some ideas and best practices for publishing content. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to create your page. So it's really simple. To set up a page, you just need to click on and set up the page, right? And you need a profile picture, and then you need a picture for your header. That's it. You need 2 pictures and your business information, and it only takes like 2 to 3 minutes to do that. So when you click and you Google Facebook for business and you land here, what's really nice is after it tells you the step, there's a little link here that you can click on that says create a page. So it's right there. Or when you log into your personal Facebook, you can click on your profile and you can scroll down and you can choose create a page from there as well. 2, add features. The features that are important to add here are a couple of things. Number 1 is you want to make sure you have messaging turned on, because a lot of people like to private message you through your business page. Now, it's important that if you do set up this feature and you do agree that you want to have messaging for your business page, that you actually monitor those messages and respond to the messages that come in. You can also add other special content or interactivity for your page as well. For example, you can now add things like shop now, or you can have, like it says right there, the ability to display your food or drink menu, or list services, or showcase products. There's a buy now, there's a shop now, there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do. Number 3, promote the page. Once your page is set up, you want to make sure that you invite customers and contacts to connect with you. So it's always good to search for people, or invite people to like your page that are on your personal friends list. But you can also promote that page in other community groups. So if you happen to own a local gym, then most likely there are business pages in your town that are dedicated just to your town, an open forum in your town, or health and fitness in your town. There's all kinds of groups that you can post in to promote your page online. And you can also take this a step further and promote the page offline, meaning you can invite your friends your customers to like your Facebook page when they walk into your place of business. Some places will even offer special incentives for liking their page. So they'll say, hey, like our page on Facebook and get 5% off of this, or get a free appetizer, or whatever it is that you want to set up. But the reason they do that is because they know it's worth investing a little bit of time and money in the incentive, because they realize that if they can get their online community pop-in on Facebook, the return on that is going to be greater than whatever it was that they invested to get people to interact on their page. 4 is publishing content, and this is probably, so setting up your page and promoting your page is really easy. So we kind of flew through that because it's really just a matter of going through the motions. And the nice thing about Facebook is that and really any of these platforms, is it prompts you what to do next. If you set up a LinkedIn profile, you do the best you can, and then every time you log in, it'll say, hey, you should complete this part. You haven't completed this part yet, and it'll prompt you for things that are missing. Facebook is very similar to that. So publishing content is the most important part. This is the part that gets people nervous and that they get hung up on, because when you say what should they think to themselves, well, what am I going to post, right? Do I post pictures? Do I post videos? Do I post text? Do I post it all? How often do I post? And specific, what kind of pictures and videos and links do I post, right? There's a lot of that going on. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about. So, firstly, we live in a scroll world, which means people are scrolling through their mobile devices all day, every day, 5.2 hours per day, specifically on average. And so, because we live in a scroll world, every single post should include either a photo or a video or some sort of media-rich content. Um, People don't tend to read a lot. In fact, if you notice, most websites that have been redesigned in the last year have significantly less text and are way more visual, way more image driven or media driven than they were even just 2 years ago. And the reason is we live in a scroll world, and people can process and absorb photos and videos better than they can process and absorb massive amounts of text. So, what I always tell people is, what kinds of photos and videos? Well, I always say that real life photos and videos are the best ones. You don't want to be posting stock photography on your social platforms and then expecting people to want to interact. Some of these bigger retailers actually do a really great job in humanizing their product and taking it away from just a lookbook and making it more relatable. So, for example, if you check out Lululemon or Spiritual Gangster or Free People, those are some of my favorite brands to follow. Or Adidas, Nike, not IKEA, yeah, actually IKEA too, Pottery Barn. Some of these companies that have tons of products that they sell, they're retail focused establishments. And so you would think that when you go to their Facebook page or you go to their Instagram, that you're going to just find lots of images of their latest styles that are for sale. But in reality, what you see is you see their products in use. It's called product placement. So rather than just showing, for example, the latest leggings from Lululemon, the same way that you would see it on their website, what you see is somebody wearing the leggings and, working out or doing yoga. So you see the leggings being used by a real person in a real way, which makes you want to use them again, or makes you want to click and learn more. So then you click on that and you can go ahead and be redirected to the website where you see the product information in a way that you want to see product information, right? Different views of the product descriptions, pricing, et cetera, et cetera. So understand that the way that you display products on a social platform is different than the way that you display products on a website, right? The purpose of each arena is completely different. And so you want to respect that. Also understand that people respond better to real life photos than they do to, staged ones or product ones that were shot in a professional arena. So, when your customers tag you in their photos, and if it's a good image, then go ahead and grab that image and ask permission to repost it. Just make sure that you're tagging the people that you repost so that you're giving them credit for the image since it is their image. We recently, as a company, have been working with a product called Curate, and what that does is it scrubs the internet or the social platforms for posts that are using our products that have the highest interaction. So, for example, if we find Joe Smith's product image of XYZ product, and it has 100 likes on it and a ton of comments, it lets us know that this is an image that is using our product of a real person that's getting a lot of interaction. It tells us that that's a product or an image that was well received online. And so we then ask permission to feature that image on a website, which we do, and it helps sell the product. So it's a nice way to use user-generated content to help build up the brand. Now, service-based businesses are similar. You still want to have all of your images be very media driven, whether that's photo or video or links to articles or whatever. So if you want a service-based business, in some cases it's very easy to use real images. Like if you own a roofing company, show before and afters, or if you own a landscaping company, show beautiful lawns in your town that you've worked on. Some service-based businesses are a little bit more challenging in this essence because, let's say you sell car insurance, you're probably not going to have a lot of pictures of your customers, right? But you can still use great stock photography that you've purchased and have permission to use, so that if you are sharing tips, or you are sharing testimonials, or you are sharing articles, that it's still image driven. Now, this is the 10-3-1 formula that we recommend for what to post and how often. So this 10-3-1 can be done on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. But the either one is fine as long as you're consistent with it. So let's say you're looking at this on a weekly basis. 10-3-1 means that every week you're going to make 10 shares of something that is just entertaining, interesting, or inspirational, and somewhat, of course, relevant to who you are as a business. Meaning you're not trying to sell them anything, and you're not focusing on just tons of like dense content that needs like time and effort to be absorbed. It's just fun stuff that people want to see, that's interesting for them, or inspirational or entertaining around your industry, or at least somewhat related. That's going to get people wanting to come back. Now, 3 of your posts that week should be industry specific information. So if you did own, I don't know, an insurance company, you could share an article on the benefit of renter's insurance, or an article on the difference between automobile insurance for a lease and a purchase. Or you could share a video that you saw recently on the news that talks about how many people go uninsured, or whatever it is, right? Like if you're an expert in your industry, so you can decipher what is good industry specific information. This could be information that you are personally sharing in writing, or it could be, coming from sources that are reputable, that you've read about or you liked, that you thought would be valuable for your customers to read or view or see. Just again, like anything, if you're ever sharing somebody else's content, you always want to make sure to tag them, and not plagiarize their content. Now, one share that week will be of a specific company, product, offer, or your business, right? So, that means you're not going to post a new deal of the day every single day. People don't want that. They don't want to be inundated with deals and sales and product, unless that product is being done in a lifestyle way, similar to how I explained to you with Pottery Barn or Lululemon, right? So that's it, guys. It's pretty simple. 10 shares of something interesting, 3 of product specific information, 1 about a specific deal, or sale that you're running, or product that you have available. So you repeat that, so that your profile doesn't come across as sales pitchy, but rather it comes across as engaging in a place that people want to come. So that 10-3-1 formula, again, you can repeat that every week, or you could choose to repeat that on a monthly basis. Whatever is comfortable for you is fine. You just have to make sure that whatever you choose is something that you have the content and the manpower to continue doing, because people engage with you more when you're consistent. The best time to send an email campaign or to make a post is still Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why. It just happens to have the highest open rate. I don't know if it has to do with hump day and people are just waiting to get over that last 2 hours of work. I'm not sure, but it's just a weird stat, if you post every single morning at 9 a.m. like WebCenters does, then people tend to go to your page around 9 or 10 to see what you've posted for the day. But if you're sporadic about it, or you're ambiguous about it, or you're just not consistent, then people don't come back because they know not to expect anything from you. Now, when you do post about a product or your services, or you do post about a sale, you need to finish with what's next, meaning whenever you do that, you always want to have some call to action somewhere inside of the post, whether it's tagging another business page that you have, or a direct website link to that product, or a website link to more information about that service. Either way, you always want to have a call to action, because social media is excellent, but it's sort of like the fishing, right? So you go fishing on social media and you catch, you bait them there, but you catch them on your website. So your website has to be equipped to really capture any of the business that you're sending there. So make sure that that's the case. And by the way, sometimes the what's next is simply a phone number, and that's fine too. But in most cases, the what's next is a website link to your website that is ready to handle any business that you send to it. All right, we already said that. Cool. Number 5, you want to measure and monitor. So what's really awesome about a business Facebook page versus a personal page is that you get insights and analytics with your business page. So you can actually track how your page is performing, what times of day it's performing the best at. Is your reach up or down for this week? It'll say this is how many, people viewed your post today, or how many impressions you had. And, it's 4,000 impressions today, which is up, 10% from yesterday. It will give you all kinds of analytics so that you can understand how your website is, or excuse me, how your Facebook business page is performing, so that you understand what's working on your page and what's not working, so that you can repeat more of the good and address some of the bad. Now, like I said, those were screenshots directly from the business page section of Facebook.com. And there's way more information on there too. So there's something called the Blueprint e-learning section of that, where it says, reach far beyond the basics of Facebook marketing. So there's a lot of information out there that Facebook provides to business owners directly. So if you look over there, there are classes and videos where you can enroll, and it gives you different levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, around all of these things. Introduction to Facebook apps and services, building your presence on Facebook and Instagram, best practices, purchasing and managing your AdWords, advertising objectives, targeting, ad placement and formats, measuring and reporting, campaign optimization, advanced best practices, introduction to Atlas, introduction to Instagram, etc., etc., etc. So there's tons of classes that you can take and content that you can read up on, and ways that you can become an expert. But one of the things that we found is that, the information is there. It's been there for years, but most business owners don't have the time to go through all of that, which is fine. It's nice to have the option, but if you don't have the time, or you don't have the desire to learn how to become an expert in these different areas, but you are interested in the benefits of being present in these areas, that's where we might be able to help you. So we've got 2 products specifically that I wanted to introduce you to tonight that might make this a little bit simpler for you. First one is social media management. It's a results-driven package where our social media experts actually create the profiles for you if you don't have them already, and it's the network of your choice. We obviously recommend Facebook first, and we will post both written and image-driven content every single week. And in addition to that, we respond to comments or questions that come up on those different platforms and review those with you. So what's really nice about that is we actually will consult with you to discuss the types of content you want to see pushed, where we can get good images from about your business, et cetera, so that we know that we are building your Facebook community or your social network community, the one of your choice, in a way that is best representing who you are and the voice that you want to have. Now, the second one is Facebook advertising. So again, nearly 2 billion people are on Facebook. So obviously you can be sure that you'll have an audience. And so what we can do is we can discuss what your goals are. So as you saw, Facebook offers classes to teach you the best practices, how to purchase your ads, how to manage the ads, how to select your ad objectives, how to do targeting, how to create proper ads and placement and formats and the different sizes and all that great stuff. So there are literally classes that you can take to learn this stuff, or you can let our team do that for you, where we just ask the questions and we translate that into what has to happen with Facebook, so that the target market and demographic is hit, the right geographical area is hit, and other important details are observed so that you're not just spending money on Facebook ads, but that money is being spent in the targeted way that you have the option to because Facebook is so granular. So every month we will consult with you and give you a report on how that campaign went, exactly how your hard-earned marketing dollars were spent, and what the results were from there. And then you can decide, do you want to keep going with this or not? And there's different levels for that. So if you want to learn more about social media management or Facebook advertising, you can actually schedule a free demonstration or appointment with a digital marketing product specialist. And they will give you more detailed information about these two products, as well as help identify what your specific goals are so that they can determine which Facebook advertising package is best suited for your specific needs and goals and budget. And if you need social media management, or actually it looks like that might be something you can handle on your own, right? They will actually help you determine which products are best for you. So as always, you guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope this session has been valuable for you. I hope you've realized the power of Facebook and how impactful that can be for your business, and help you to reach more and more channels. So if you visit maWebCenters.com, you can actually scroll to the bottom of the website, and our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and blog, etc., all of those direct links are right at the bottom in the footer of our website. So we encourage you to like those pages and interact with us on those pages, post your questions, post your comments, and be part of our community as we help to grow yours. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll catch you next time.